think that's what I was going to say is...
Have I nicked your line?
No.
Oh, good,
no,
good.
you're not nicked it. That's what I was going to think. Do we really want it to go back to how it was? If you think pre-2019, there were some pretty bad things happening before the pandemic. Now, I'm not saying that we want to keep how it is. Most people who you speak to now, in fact, all people have had enough of this. They've really, they're sick of it. They want an end to it and they want to go on and live their life. But I think what this report is really tapping into is that lack of hope. And I think the last, what we were talking about before with the sort of drugs situation in the UK, is this hopelessness. I think throughout the UK there is a deep hopelessness now and, media, government, culture and arts, I think we've got to start to focus really on a future that's more hopeful than probably the past was.
Yeah, actually, you were just explaining earlier on your job about human behaviours, etc. So I'm interested in this because one of the things that I get frequently concerned about is how we've had kind of small, gradual steps towards things that if you'd have said to someone 2 years ago, for example, you can't go to so-and-so until you scan something on your phone. And even then, you can only go if you've had a medical procedure. We've got countries that are now making it mandatory to be injected with something if you want to participate freely in society. You've got people that are happy for people to be locked down based on their medical status. To me, things that are unfathomable 2 years ago that are now almost become new norms in themselves, and they are norms that many people are happy with.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people will make comparisons to the 20th century, and it's really overstated, of the horrors of the 20th century. But I think if we're even going like a few steps down a path that led us to that, like dehumanizing people, shaming people, separating people from society, scapegoating. I was reading what people in the streets in Austria were saying. They were saying, oh, we'd be out of this if it weren't for these people. I can't understand them. They're basically animals. If we're going down that path that led us to some pretty bad places in the past, I think that's enough for us to turn around and go back, personally.
Yeah, I don't think there's an if about it. I think we are going down that path. I think that I'm seeing more and more headlines that are pitting the vaccinated against the unvaccinated and basically saying, dear clean vaccinated people, all your woes are because of these dirty unvaccinated people. And I do think it's a very slippery slope. And Harry, it's not even just about that for me. It's just about the way life has changed. And this new normal is upon us. And to many people, it's great.
Well, I think there's good and bad to it. I think the really depressing thing about it is I don't ever see us feeling carefree again. One is always worried about something, about whether you're going into a crowd, whether you're going to a party, especially in winter. Flying again.
I'm
flying, going on holiday. Okay, that might be a minor problem compared to many problems that people face. But the idea of just getting on a plane and going somewhere and enjoying yourself, that kind of carefree happiness, I think has gone.
Do you know what I read the other day? Well, actually, it was early today. I read something really depressing about children, small children, toddlers, being on trains and being on buses, pointing out that people are not wearing masks. And they were sort of saying, mummy, that man's not wearing a mask. And I thought that's very depressing. That is really, really depressing that small children have had the whole life experience with people behind masks. I thought that's very, very worrying. Actually.
But my little boy was born during this pandemic. And this is why I've got a lot of resentment, I think is the word, because I can see that my little boy's development is hindered. It is hindered. His speech is because he has this world where people are concealing their face. He can't see kind of proper interactions between people, and I resent it. And his nursery has a sign on the wall that says wearing a mask is kindness. So then I think, are you trying to teach my kid that if someone comes in here, they've got an exemption or whatever, then they're just not a kind person?
Well, I resent it. I don't agree, actually, with that. Because I think, for instance, people who work in shops, who I have so much respect for, through the first lockdown, they've stayed. GPs you didn't see, teachers you didn't see, but people who work in shops were there, and there day after day were there for us. And I think it is merely a politeness to wear a mask when you go in the shop, because I want to protect them and I appreciate what they've done for us. So, yes, I think that is being kind. It's me being polite and kind to the shop worker.
I don't know.
I don't see what's wrong with that.